All right, hey everybody, welcome to the tattoo. We were just talking about tattoos, and that just came out of my
Welcome
mouth.
to the tattoo parlor here at Broadmoor, where Kendra is going to show us her brand new tattoo she got over the weekend.
Oh man, that was crazy. Yeah, so we did just have a conversation about tattoos.
Yes.
Hilarious.
Who among us has one and who does not? So
Why does Kendra have
Comment
them all?
below.
yeah, Kendra, we learned that Kendra has a bunch of tattoos.
You heard it here.
Which is not true.
No, it's not
Everybody,
true.
not true, Matt. You're listening. Dad.
Anyway, well, so I meant to say podcast. Welcome to the podcast.
Hilarious.
My day is made.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So everybody doing well? How was the weekend?
We're great now. Weekend was good. Weekend was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
It was good fighting sore throat all weekend. And by God's grace, I didn't have a sore throat yesterday while I preached. And then after I preached, it was like everything, just razor blades all yesterday afternoon. But this morning,
You have a very low and resonant voice today.
I have a low tone today.
Yes, you
It's
do.
getting better. I can feel it. So the Dr. Pepper's working.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit of inflammation in there, probably.
It's the doctor. He's working.
That's good. Anybody else? Anybody do anything exciting?
There was nothing exciting. Like it was as low key as it could be, which was really nice. Still hot.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I think it's supposed to be cooler today
yes.
and this
rainy.
week,
Yeah, rain all week.
like in the upper or low 90s. I mean,
Kendra, what'd y'all do this weekend?
We were back on the sports circuit, soccer practice,
yeah.
baseball practice, also fighting all a little bit of colds.
Yeah,
So,
summer colds are the worst.
yeah.
School's back in
School,
session, the
little petri
worst.
dishes of school. But yeah, so that's fun. Kids getting all back in routine of sports.
And
Sweet.
speaking of sports, did you know that this was the last weekend without college football until like mid-January? So exciting. I guess even into February. But this coming weekend is what's called week 0 of college football.
Week 0.
So you have, I guess, the biggest game this coming weekend. Not that we are sportscasters here, but we have UNLV taking on Memphis. Of course, you have UNLV, which former coach there used to be at Mississippi State, and the coach at Memphis used to be the former coach at Southern Miss. So going to be a great weekend, regardless of who's playing. Football is back, and we are excited. So ask me next week how my weekend went. It's going to be great.
yeah.
Awesome.
So Lori and I got to travel this weekend. We went to Nashville for a wedding, and it was supposed to be really secretive until after it happened. But
Like the wedding or your trip?
the wedding,
Oh, the wedding.
no, not the trip.
A secretive
I just heard
a
about it. If it makes you feel
wedding?
better.
Yeah, so our friend J.W. Yeager, I've known him since he was like a 13-year-old. Like he used to play drums for me in Orlando when I was on staff at the church there.
Darren has a Jaeger joke.
And so anyway, he's played here at Broadmoor a few times, and he married Annie F. Downs.
Oh,
So who I didn't really have much
coming
context
to
for
Broadmoor.
prior to this, but she's coming to speak for our Christmas women's gathering here at Broadmoor, and apparently she's her podcast is almost as popular as this one.
just
Right.
a
Almost.
few more.
Yeah, so
I think she has 3 more listeners.
yeah. I mean,
3 million more.
not by much, but
That's right.
Anyway, apparently she's somewhat of a celebrity, and so we had to like keep the wedding a secret, and
It was like Taylor and Travis, but different.
yeah, I mean, almost on that level.
Almost. Yeah. But truly, as I am going through my social media feeds, all of the people in the Christian world that I follow were all at this wedding that I knew Mike and Johan were at.
Yep.
And I thought, yeah, my guys are famous. I love it. It's so good. And so you said who was sitting in front of you and who was around you and who did you see?
Yeah, so Sandy
Celebrity.
Patty was sitting in front of us. Sandy
Mm-hmm.
And so I mean,
Another time,
there's
another
a
Probably has a
throwback. There's a throwback.
Sandy has a tattoo.
Yeah, and several other people I've only read their books or heard their music or things were there, and Lori and I walked in with Corey Robertson. So you remember Duck Dynasty?
Yes.
She and she was with another lady, and they were trying to find their way in the venue. And Lori and I had been there before, so we were like, "Oh, you can walk in with us. We know where we're going." And
Love it. You're probably going to be on the
cool.
Duck Dynasty
oh
podcast.
yes, absolutely,
could see you.
absolutely, right. Which has always been my aspiration.
I knew it was. I knew. When I look at you, I think, goodness gracious, you probably love Duck Dynasty.
Anyway,
That's really cool.
so no, it was great. We had a good time and ate some really fantastic food. We ate at this Italian place in downtown Franklin. that was amazing.
Come on.
Amazing. And so,
Any hot chicken?
no, I didn't eat any hot chicken. I should have.
Wasted opportunity.
missed opportunity,
There's always an opportunity for hot chicken.
So,
Always.
on the home front, though, so we had a new PA system on yesterday in the service.
Yes,
we did.
They've been installing it for the last few weeks and used it for the first time yesterday. It was fantastic.
It was really good.
It sounded good, and it sounded good online. Like, I don't know if the mix was just a little bit different yesterday, but it was really clean.
Yeah.
We did. I mean, the new PA wouldn't affect our broadcast mix, but we did have someone else sitting at the broadcast console, mixing. So
There you go.
I don't know.
Great day all around.
Yeah. So that was great. And we had a really great story video in our service about foster care and adoption. A couple of families in our congregation that have been a part of that and have adopted. They were fostering, and then they adopted the kids, and so that was really cool.
Super cool.
And I think is what y'all showed just a small part of that whole video that we can watch somewhere else.
It is. There's Chase created a much more full version of the story.
30 minutes?
Three videos.
3 videos?
Yeah, so you can find those.
Playing charades over here. He's just throwing up gang signs over there.
2 words, 3. So you can go on the church's YouTube channel and watch those there and get a little more detail. There was so much content we couldn't use it all in the video we showed in the service, but they're great stories. And but just Josh, maybe give us a little more context for what the shelter ministry is. I mean, you mentioned it, and I think there are a lot of people in our church that know, but probably a lot of people that don't.
Sure. Our shelter ministry was born out of our idea that we want to certainly run to the hurting, and born out of James 1:27, where we want to, if at all possible, with all the wonderful resources we have, care for the most vulnerable amongst us. And so, of course, shelter, think the way that we drew it up, like on the whiteboard that day, think something that shelters people. And then we took 4 pillars that hold that shelter up. And so the 4 pillars of shelter are foster care, adoption, women and men who have abortion a part of their story, and then people who want to come alongside any of those 3 in a way of respite care. And so those are the 4 pillars of our shelter ministry. And so when you hear that, if any of that resonates with you, we would love for you to consider learning more about shelter ministry. You can go to our website to do that. You can go to CHH. That is where shelter ministry kind of resides. That's its home. And if you watched the video yesterday, you heard one of the folks say that one of the great things about shelter ministry, not only is it philosophically there for families who are walking through those things, it's physically there. So if you get a call at 3 p.m. that you have 2 foster kids coming to your house this afternoon at 4:30, we are going to aim to race you to your house with all the things that you're going to need. So let's say you need two new beds, you need, this type of food, you need this. We all have that in storage or in a storehouse over there that's ready to deploy to any family that's in need. And it's not just for Broadmoor members who are doing that. So if you know of somebody who is in the fight of foster care, like they're doing it, we want to run to them as fast as we can to come alongside them. Part of our story is foster care and adoption. It's kind of one of those things, and you heard him yesterday, you just don't know what you don't know until you know. And sometimes you don't make that call before because you're like, yeah, I think I have everything. And then 30 seconds into the kids being in your house, you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. I need help. And so shelter's also there for that, where sometimes you just need to talk to another adult because you have constantly been in the fight of helping a kid, and no fault of their own, try to regulate into a new space. And that takes all the mom capacity and all the dad capacity that you have. And sometimes you just need a safe place to vent. You need a safe place to talk, or just to talk about nothing related to kid world. And let's have an adult conversation. Shelter is for that as well. Yeah. So super cool ministry we have here at Broadmoor.
One of the cooler things I think we do.
I agree.
I love that. Which, in that video, I mean, it was kind of intentional that we showed it on this day because, the passage that we talked about ended with that
James
charge,
1:27.
Hey, here's what true religion looks like. So just to kind of get us warmed up here, So, James says, be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to be angry. And so, honest truth.
Oh, boy.
When's the last time you said something in the heat of the moment
Never.
that you wish you could take back?
I've never said that this morning.
Carpool this morning, right?
That's exactly right.
Like today.
Yeah, are you asking
or-
what time today?
Like truthfully, this morning, this has been. It's kind of one of those things that whenever as preachers or teachers, the word must come through us before it goes out to whoever we're going to teach if we're doing it right. And so the conviction maybe that you felt yesterday, I have felt for a very long time working through this, and even after. So I know. Be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to become angry. And it was like either, we talked about last week, the devil doesn't do, sometimes we just do stupid all by ourselves, or we don't need his help. Like the fall is already in front of us. But like when we opened our eyes this morning in the Brady house, it was like the opposite of all the things I taught yesterday. I was not quick to listen. I was not slow to speak or slow to become angry. It was, all right, it's on. And let's get after it. And it was all the way until the kids got out of the car. Like I remember we were pulling up to school this morning, and the girls know what we do every single morning. I take them to school and we pray, and they know the stoplight where we turn left to get on Pear Orchard. And that's when we cut off the radio and we begin to pray. Look, I'm fuming. I'm so mad. I am seething in anger this morning because all the things that have happened and didn't happen this morning. And I hit the button and I said, all right, who's praying? Look, the car. Katie was like, babe, I got it this morning. I'll pray for us. I was like, thanks. And I just sat there grumpy. So yeah, I've not done a great job with this today. Confession of the soul.
That's fantastic.
It was interesting. We started reading that passage last Monday through our Bible reading plan, and it was amazing how many times during the week, either me personally or having somebody sitting in front of me was like, "Oh, let me remind you about this verse."
Mm-hmm.
Like this is, I was talking to this one guy, really in conflict with another person that he knows, and he's just sitting here talking about that, and I'm like, "Hey, let me remind you of this. Let me just remind you of this." And he's like, "Oh, that's good news. That's really good news."
Yeah. Thankful the word does that to us. It's good stuff.
So to jump in, I want to start maybe with a question that Darren, you brought up when we were talking before our tattoo parlor conversation. So James says to be doers of the word and not hearers only, and so again, as we think about context, there was no they didn't have the New Testament.
Right.
Then, like we do. Mm-hmm. And so when we think of be doers of the word, I mean, we think of, the Bible as we have it right now, maybe. So how should we think? But how should we be thinking about that in light of the context that James was speaking in here?
Yeah. And again, this goes back to, we talk often about hermeneutics and why it's important to understand context as we read God's word. And even the language that we import from our own vernacular that we put into Bible. And we attempt, and it's not because we're trying to do this, but we just do it. We attempt to make it mean something it doesn't, right? So the word often is associated to us as these 66 books. Like, go read the word. What is the word? This is the word. That's not how they understood the word, right? So think logos is what we understand Jesus to be. In the beginning was the word, and the word was God. The word was with God. He was in the beginning with God. So we have that. Here, there is a similar tie, but think more of an idea. And this is a vernacular, like an expression in our vernacular today that is making a comeback. Like somebody will say a grand idea, and somebody's response is, that's a whole word right there.
Right.
And it's this idea that what they just said is a whole full thought, okay? That's probably closer to what James is speaking to than what we import when we say, be doers of the Bible. And again, that's not wrong, but we just have to understand they didn't have the Bible the way in which we have the Bible. They would have the Old Testament. They would have had the understanding that the Hebrew Bible that they would hold, and they should be doers of that. And that was important to actually, do what the Bible tells them to do. But the idea is, in Christianity, to be a follower of Christ is this new conceptual idea that they are bringing in a new kingdom. Okay, so this is the word, that this is the good news of the gospel. So I think sometimes it could be better translated, be doers of the gospel. And so as we are going forward, whatever the gospel has done to us, we should do to the world. And so again, this gets back to the first fruits of when we went to verse 18 to start as we looked back. If we are truly supposed to be the first expression of what God's about to do to the whole world, then we need to take the gospel, whatever's happened to us, and we go and do that to the world that's around us. So we are ambassadors for the hope of the gospel, meaning we are standing in the stead of God, and we are acting as his vice regents, right? So we have authority to go and do as he has done to us. That is the doers. The opposite of that would be if we just learn more about it. Mm-hmm. Like if we just lived in the theological, if we just lived in the academic, which a lot of them did, because their history was, let's go to synagogue, let's learn, let's sit under teaching, which isn't bad if that teaching is going to produce something in you. And that's James's whole point. You want to see true faith? It's going to be faith that does something. You want to see false faith? It's faith that does nothing. And that was kind of the point that he's making. So doers of the word, think of it as doers of the gospel. What is good about the news, then go do that good to the world.
Do you think that was more of a radical idea to them after this synagogue, go sit and hear culture to be told to go do? Like,
Huge.
Did that, because we kind of hear that, the Great Commission, go ye therefore. So whether we're doing it or not, we're hearing that a lot. Did that feel new to them?
Yeah, I think it would. Now, remember, Hebrew culture, they would have aspects or expressions of their life that were to do good. Think almsgiving. Like that was a big thing that they would do, that everywhere they went, they were to carry a little bit extra. Or even when they planted, like think agricultural, that whenever they gleaned, they could only glean a certain point. They never were supposed to glean all of it because there was supposed to be some left over for those who were destitute. So there were always built-in areas of their life that were just kind of overflow. But Jesus, in the radical sense, said, I don't want you to give them the leftovers. I want you to give them the first fruits. In the same way, that's why he says, we are the first fruits of God's goodness, not the leftovers of God's goodness. And so I would say that's the most radical thing that these people are hearing. Run to them now and give them now what is good about God. Don't you live your life for you and your glory and hope that they can get a little bit at the edges. Yeah, so I think that is probably radical, but in the Hebrew culture, they would still do things that were kind.
Sure.
A lot of hospitality, almost regulations. Hey, this is what you're supposed to do. You have an obligation to take care of the stranger in your midst, those kind of things.
That's exactly right, yeah. But it was obligatory.
Right.
It wasn't a lot of times just joy-filled. And that should be the difference in the new and coming kingdom, that everything that we are ushering in is going to have hints of the shadowy things of the past, because if we understand the Old Testament rightly, the Old Testament is not done away with. It's fulfilled, like it receives all the things that used to be the shadow of what it was pointing to, and now it's fulfilled in the person of Jesus and his coming kingdom. So now we run forward with that. So it's going to certainly have overtones of everything the Old Testament said or called the people to, but now it's going to be an expression that is all of that and then some.
So it's okay. There was the law. That was the thing that was motivating, but now, because of this word, because of this whole thing about Jesus and God's kingdom, you've been ushered in to be a part of that. That now we're going to go do things out of that motivation as opposed to this motivation.
Oh yeah. So I think maybe I would give it a different tone. I don't think the law was necessarily motivating if they understood the law rightly. But hopefully they understood the law, and we should understand it too, because that's what he's going to speak to. The law is like a highway to get where you're going. You can either go down a dirt road or you can go down a highway. Both of them are going to get you somewhere, but one's going to get you there a lot faster and a lot cleaner and a lot safer. And so the law was always meant to keep God's people safe and to keep God's people on the right path to get from where they are to where God wanted them to be. The issue is, the same way it was for them is the same way it is for us. We like to think we know better.
Right.
And so, God, I see that road. I think I like this road better. So we'll vary off that road, and then we'll try to forge our own path, which always leads to craziness or disaster or to a dead end. And then by God's grace, He lets us back on the path. But yeah, I think the motivation is always God's goodness and God's glory. But sometimes when we blaze our own path, we start going in circles and we start to think, oh, I've done this before. And so we start to think that it's us that's most important. And God's law will feel combative to us because it's constantly driving away from us to God. And if we're self-centered, we're not going to like that because that's moving away from us to something bigger and greater, which of course is God. And that's what the law is always going to do. That's a lot of times why we don't like it as well.
And is that, because, I mean, one of the things that, one of the questions that I had for us today is, James refers to the law of liberty or the law that gives freedom. And we tend to think of the law as something that feels restrictive to us, not something that is, gives us freedoms. And so, how should we say more about that? Like, how should we consider the law, the law of liberty? Like, what was he trying to tell us?
Oh, yeah. Well, again, if we're going back to consider James's letter as he's writing in the portion that we covered yesterday, he talked about the way, a good way to do it and a bad way to do it. It being understanding who God is and our call into this world. He said the first person is going to look intently into the law, and then he's going to turn away and forget. Right? So the first part is great. That's what the other guy's going to do as well. He's going to look intently. So he is going to read the Hebrew Old Testament and see the law of God. That doesn't necessarily mean the Ten Commandments, but it is the Ten Commandments. But it's all the 600 plus other laws as well. And he's going to look in there and he's going to go away and say, oh, yeah, I hear that. I think I'll go do something different. That's going to lead him astray, and it's going to cause deception in his life, right? So he's going to begin to believe things that aren't true. But the guy who's going to do it right, the guy who's going to fight the deception, the guy who's going to stay on track, and when I say guy, gender neutral, right? So guys and girls. The person who looks into the law, they're going to see that it's complete. And that's the first part, meaning that there's nothing that needs to be added to it. There's nothing that needs to be taken away from it, that it is perfect as is, but they're going to understand what it is to be. The scriptures have been clear from the Old Testament, and Paul makes very clear points in the New Testament. The law was never meant to save you.
Right.
Like that's not the purpose of it. I remember Matt Chandler years ago when he talked about the law after he had his brain cancer diagnosis, and he used the imagery of an MRI scan. And he talked about the law of God being much like an MRI machine, that it allows you to see deep inside of yourselves, things that you couldn't see on the outside. But just because you can see the cancer doesn't mean you can fix the cancer. It only allows you to see the thing that's killing you. And then you have a choice to make about what you see. You can turn away and act like it's not there and say, oh, it's not there. It's going to kill you. Or you can say, I see it, and now I'm going to get a game plan to kill that thing that's trying to kill me. Okay? So the law, this is what the guy who's doing it right does. He looks intently into the law. He looks at the scan of his life compared to the law. So he's looking into the mirror, and he sees all the things that are not right. So it's complete. But then he says he sees the law of liberty, the thing that's going to free him from the thing that keeps him stuck. And so he makes a plan, as we continue through this, through the person and the work of Jesus Christ, to fight the thing that's in him, right? So the law is going to show him the path ahead. And if he stays in the law, it's going to allow them to, using the MRI illustration, to cut out the very thing, meticulously, cut out the very thing that's killing them and give them a new lease on life. So now they can live differently apart from that dastardly thing that's inside of them. And that's, I think, the difference in the law. When you are younger and you don't think you're sick, why do I need a scan? But if something's wrong, and you have these symptoms that just won't go away, and you go to the doctor, no matter how scary it is, the law is going to show you something, and you let it sit long enough, you can say, okay, I don't know what to do with that, but now I see it, and now it's giving me a new lease on life. I'll give you a personal illustration. I've talked a lot today, but let me do this illustration. I'll kick it back to you guys. This health journey that I've been on, about almost getting close to 90 pounds down from the heaviest that I've been while I was here at Broadmoor. Super excited about that. And many don't know the story behind it, but I found out I had a heart blockage. in my Widowmaker of all places. And there I remember the day that I found out, I went numb, like truly went numb. Couldn't think straight, couldn't see straight. Like it just affected me, dude, for months. Terrified. We have a lot of doctors in our church. So I would meet with different doctors. We have a lot of cardiologists in our church. My cardiologist is in this church. And so I had to sit with him and I was like, I need you to spell this out like I'm in third grade. Help me understand. And so we sit in his office and he shows me the video scan that we did with the cardiac CT that we did. And it's showing my heart pumping and the dye going through and where the blockage is. And I'm hearing him say, we see it, but there's not necessarily something for us to do about it right now. And so that did not make me comforted. Right. Like I think, oh no. So like, do I die today or tomorrow or what's that look like? But one day I was sitting with Mike McMullen, who another world-renowned cardiologist in our church. And he said, Josh, I want you to see this as a gift to you. Many people don't see the blockage, and by the time they find it, it's too late. You get to see it and you get to address it. Now, the choice is yours, what you want to do. You need to lose some weight and you need to make some really important life changes. But that's up to you. I'm just telling you what the scan shows, and you have a gift in front of you if you want to see it that way. And now you get a chance to live differently because of what you see. He wasn't trying to apply James chapter 1 to me, but it's exactly what James chapter 1 was, that now I understand that what I have and what I experienced almost 2 years ago, what I saw on a report is now a gift to me. I hate that it's there. I hate that I lived a lifestyle that probably led to that. I wish I could go back and do it differently, but I can't. The only thing I can do is change how I live now. And there's no guarantee moving forward, but I can change because the gift has been given to me that I now see things I couldn't see before. That's what the law does for those who love God. It exposes the sin, or the thing that's making the sin inside of us, and we have a choice that we can do something with it or not. That's on us. That's the free will we get. God in his grace has exposed the thing in us. Now we get a chance to live a different life, and that's up to you.
That's good.
Yeah.
It is good.
Yeah.
I hear thunder.
I hear something.
The building is rumbling.
That's right. It's the tattoo shop.
So why don't we skip to the last verse that you tackled in this passage? So it talks about caring for orphans and widows is the kind of the mark of pure religion. Why is it that James picked those two things as the mark of real religion? And so, and I understand you talked about, I think, the fact that they didn't really have an organized, system for caring for, those two people groups. Today we do. Today we have
government systems,
programs and things in place for that. So, how do we understand that in our modern day context? What was James trying to say that we should consider for ourselves?
I'll kick it up for discussion in just a second, but just to understand that he's contrasting, he said this is pure religion, but right before it, he says this is not pure religion. And the not pure religion part is the simply mental side of theology. Again, theology is not wrong. Theology is thinking about God. That's not wrong. But theology that doesn't lead you to action is deadly because I'm sure Satan and his minions think about God. They have a theology, but it doesn't change them. He actually will get to that shortly, in short order. So the contrast is, okay, a faith that does nothing is not pure religion. It's religious. It's not pure. It's dirty. It's muddled. But there's something pure, something that if you want religious action that is pure, that God says yes, that is the way to go. It is caring for people who can't care for themselves. It's essential. Like if we're to go and do the gospel, go and do what is done to us, we are legitimately being called to do what God has done to us, and He is expressing that in this way: that orphans could never repay you. And not only that would be the thought of something that would happen later. They can't help themselves today, and they could never repay you if you jumped into the mix to help them. Same way with widows. Okay, Now, he is not speaking exhaustively to the only 3 things that God accepts: a bridled tongue, caring for widows, caring for orphans. So that's not the only 3. If you hit those 3 markers, I'm in good standing with God. But what he is calling us to is a life lived where we're not the center of it. And why we do what we do is not predicated on our glory and people knowing our name. So curious, we have some stellar folks with us today on the podcast, and Darren and Kendra, and both of you respectfully hold ministries that are near and dear to my heart, as Kendra is a part of our preschool ministry. She's our preschool minister. Darren, you are our local outreach. And for you guys, I think you're on the front lines, literally, of this, of orphans and widows and the most vulnerable amongst us. I know if you come from Madison culture, and when I say that, I think more affluent, most people don't necessarily show the needs that they have, but it's here.
Right.
Like it's around us, like the real orphans and real widows and real vulnerable people. Could you guys speak to what you see and potentially how we can minister to that?
I'll jump in. And I thought that part of the sermon made me think a lot and was convicting about my own ministerial role at Broadmoor, in the sense that sometimes we can so focus on the programming and getting the resources center up and the walls painted and the toys in the right room and switching curriculums. And those are important things. Like, we have to think about those. We want our spaces to look nice and we want the programs to run smoothly. And I can so focus on that. And that looks good, and sometimes that can get attention, and wow, look at all the things that are happening. But is that making a difference in people's lives? Is that translating? Is all of that work translating to caring for people that walk in the door, whether it is a family that's fostering or a family that just moved here from Waco that doesn't know anyone in the community? Even if they are fluent, that is a need that they have. They need that connection, or a family that is going through infertility or adoption. So I found myself, I think in the summer here, we focus so much on getting ready for the new year, and that's very physical and visible. Did I focus enough this year on how we are meeting needs and how we are? Does that translate to care in the preschool? So I found myself reflecting a lot on that. But we are on the front lines, especially of orphan care and foster care, and I'm thankful for those families that are constantly opening our eyes to how to do that better, and how we do that in our weekday program, and how we do that on Sundays. I can think of key people that Brandy Saffel specifically has come alongside me in so many ways and said, hey, let's think about this. Hey, let's, just this week I had a great conversation with her about a great thing that came up, and she guided me well. So I think that is the work that I'm doing translating to caring for people. And I think that's kind of how I took that part of the sermon yesterday.
Thank you for that.
For me, I get this opportunity to work in kind of 2 different, really 3, but 2 different areas. One is what we would readily think of when we talk about what would be a local missions thing that I could do. So how do we go with some of our partners who are caring for, whether it's prisoners, whether it's when we think in our local context here, kind of in the Jackson metro area, hey, there's some places, man, where there's people don't have good sources of water, even where the food is hard to get, where socioeconomically, man, there's some places that we go, oh man, these are some really, really needy things. And we want to be able to rush to that. How do we go and work with partners that are in those communities, that we come along beside them and meet real physical needs? Things that are mind-boggling sometimes when you go, wow, this is this physical need that's in my same county or the county that's next to where I live. And you're going, whoa, I don't have to go halfway around the world to see those kind of needs.
Yeah, that's right.
They are here. And we get this opportunity, like we say, when we want to rush into that and try to meet those needs. The other part is, so what do we do to minister to people that are right here in our culture, and the needs are there? They just don't necessarily look like the same needs.
Yeah.
But one of the things that that I think is interesting, and when you talk about, like in James, when he's talking about widows and orphans, he wasn't just saying because they didn't have physical things. He's looking at this holistic as a person.
Right.
What are the needs? And we get this opportunity to take a look and say, holistically, we want to recognize that needs are needs. Some are more blatantly obvious.
That's right.
Some are more under the surface. Some are easier to hide and pretend like they're not there, even from others, but even to ourselves. Before I came to Broadmoor, I worked for a missions organization. We did a lot of work in Haiti and Dominican Republic. And talk about poverty, like poverty that is just mind-boggling to think that this is somebody in the same hemisphere we live, and this is like, oh my.
That's right.
Working with the local pastors that are there day in, day out. These are Haitian pastors, Dominican pastors. These aren't Americans that have come in and we've put there as missionaries. These are indigenous pastors that are working with their people. To train them that when American groups would come to the island to work with them, to look at those men, women, those teenagers, whoever it was that was coming in that group and saying, you've seen unbelievable physical needs, but the biggest need that they have, more so than the fact that they don't have shelter, that they don't have these things, if they don't have Jesus, that's a more pressing need. That's a bigger need than any of the physical things.
Yeah.
And by the way, wherever you've come from, across the street, around the block from you, there are people that have the same exact need. So don't come and think, oh, these are just the needy people, and think that in your neighborhood there isn't any.
Yeah, needs are different.
Because there's this larger need that happens, and I love the fact that we get to have those kind of conversations as well. What does it look like to meet the need of the person that may make a whole lot more money than you do, but they have a need in their life, as opposed to the person that you go, oh, if I can just do these physical needs, they're okay. But no, there's even larger needs than that.
So I'm going to put you on the spot twice. That was the first. This is the second. And I'm going to give you a second to think about the answer to your question that I'm about to give you. Here's the question. How can we meet needs in our community? How do we open our eyes to see what do you think are our greatest needs right now at Broadmoor in August 2026, September 2026, October 2026? So think about that. That's going to be the question. Okay. How do we see that? How do we open our eyes to see it? And what do you think that they are? Okay. Going back to widows and orphans, if we had more time to spend on it yesterday in the sermon, I think I would have pressed in a little bit more on this as well. If you notice, what James is speaking to is a woman who has lost her husband, so her lead, her head, and you have a child who's lost their father. Or mother, but essentially the father, because in this culture you potentially could have a mom, an earthly mom, and still be an orphan, because if the mom had nobody, then both of you had nobody. So effectively you were an orphan, and so there's this idea that where earthly things fail, God will never fail. But we are supposed to be the expression of, hey, I know he's not here yet. I know the second coming hasn't happened yet, but I'm going to step up in that gap, and I'm going to stand in the place where God stood, not because I think I am him, but because he's told me to come and be here for you in this moment. And that's good news. So for a woman who thinks, oh no, I will have no food tonight or a place to lay my head, and you show up with meal and a place for her to lay her head, that's good news, right? So be doers of the gospel. Same for a kid who thinks, oh no, my life is going to look different. I'm going to have to go to work at a really young age and do really things that probably nobody should ever have to do just to breathe, just to exist. And now somebody steps in and gives them a new lease on life to say, not only will you not do that, you'll never think about doing that again, because now you get to do this because I'm standing here in your stead. This is what we get to do, whether is that dramatic or something a little bit different, but we are to be God's expression of goodness to the world around us. So when you think about that, back to the question I asked, what do you think our greatest needs are, and how do we do that for our people here? From where you stand.
What came to my head first, so I'm just going to go with it, is our greatest need is a genuine ability to be vulnerable in our community. And I think it goes back to what you said, is we can't meet each other's needs if we don't know what they are. And I mean,
that's
like,
good.
within Broadmoor. So not the physical material needs in our surrounding areas, but I'm looking at our community within Broadmoor, our life groups, the people that drop off in the preschool, families that are coming in to genuinely, we put the time and effort into getting to know them and wanting to do that and having the desire to do that, so we can step into what that need is, whether it's a postpartum mom that's genuinely struggling and just getting upright to walk in on Sunday and look like she has it all together. Like, am I putting in the effort and energy to know her so I can step into that?
Come on.
And then the ability to build that trust so people can open up. So I think in our very specific Broadmoor context, the people that are coming in the building, it's a trust that if I share what my need is, it will be met. And then on our side, am I going to do it? It's that trust that I think is what comes to my mind is probably our greatest need right now in our
So
in our
I hear
doors.
you say, and correct me if I'm wrong, that one of our greatest needs is a relational need. That is the bridge in which we meet people where they are. A lot of people have stuff, or at least they're in debt to have stuff, but they are hiding in the shadows because they're fearful of knowing and being known.
Yeah, and Becky Thomas, our preschool ministry associate, we were talking this week. We had a great event that a very organic gathering where a lot of moms came to, and we said, in today's world with AI and there, you can get all the information you need about bottles and sleep schedules. And I mean, anything when it comes to motherhood, that information is at your fingertips. You do not need information, but you just need that connection. And so maybe that conversation is what prompted that to come to my mind first. Like, I don't need someone to tell me a sleep schedule. I need a mom to say, hey, you're going to make it. A person to say, hey, I've walked that difficult road of anxiety or parenting. Let's walk it together. Or
along those lines, and Darren, I'll let you answer in a minute. On our way back from Nashville this weekend, Lori and I were listening to some podcasts, and one of the podcasts that we were listening to was the guest was someone who had just walked through something really difficult, like his wife had had a brain tumor and surgery and follow up chemo and stuff, and so. But one of the things he said stuck out, and as I was listening to you talk, I thought, he said, often, we ask the question, like, what do you need? And it's almost like a cop-out, because, chances are the person's going to,
tell me if you need anything.
Or because, the vulnerability, we just, he said, don't ask, just do the thing. Like, see the need and do it. And he said, man, people showed up to our house. They just mowed our lawn. Nobody asked. They just did it. Or they just showed up with things that, they didn't know we needed, but in fact, we needed them and probably would have never asked for them.
Along that line, so when our oldest son was going through chemo, there was this lady I went to church with, worked with her, and she came almost apologetically one day. She said, I was just in the store. I was thinking about you guys. And I just decided to get this for my 15-year-old son. It was one of those pillows that have like the little arms built out on the side of it, And she's like, I would always get these, and my grandmother had one, and I don't know, and I hope you're not offended or something like this. I was like, no, that's great. So I take it home, and I give it to Harrison, and all of a sudden, it's like it's just perfect to help him do like this transfer that he was needing to do from the couch. And it was like the perfect thing. Yeah. We would never have ever thought to say, hey, can we get him one of those pillows with the arm? But like it was like exactly what you're saying. Like she just said, and was apologizing. She said, I feel like this is stupid. And I went back to her and said, oh my gosh, it was perfect for where he is right now.
Yeah.
But it's difficult to know those things outside a relationship.
That's right.
So,
and if you have a relationship, I was listening to a guy talking about, it's kind of like The Gospel Comes with a House Key, like if you're familiar with the book. But talking like some further discussion that happened off of it. So the general stance we have is, hey, let me know if you need anything. And we're genuine with it.
Sure.
Let me know and I'll go do that thing. They're never going to let you know. It's just the way it is. So be a little bit presumptive And so when you call them, say, and this is where I think the relationship matters, because if any, like just some rando calls me and says, hey, I'm coming to your house right now, I'm coming to fold your clothes. I'm like, bro, no,
you're not.
absolutely, you're not. But if you have a true relationship with somebody and you know that they have a need, like legitimately, like if they've seen my house at its worst, they can call me and say, hey, I'm not asking, I'm telling, I'll be there in 3 minutes and I'm going to come fold your clothes. I'm coming to clean your house. And I don't need you to do anything. I'm just going to, you sit right there, you do the thing. Or, hey, I'm at Kroger right now and I'm picking up some stuff. What are the 3 things that you need that I can bring here? Because I'm coming over.
Yeah.
So let me know what I can bring to you. So there's a little bit of presumptive, like I already know, like for the widows and the orphans in this expression, again, I don't want to take it to a step that it wasn't ever meant to be. You didn't have to wonder if they were widows or orphans. You knew that they needed something. So at least you knew they needed advocacy. Like you knew that they needed somebody to stand on their behalf and speak or love in a way that's going to make them feel whole again. And then all the things that are going to come after that. So for us, when we see a need, whatever that may be, whether it's relational or physical or whatever it is, be a little bit presumptive in that, because remember, God was presumptive in us.
Right.
He didn't wait for us to wave the flag to say, God, I need your help. Although I think sometimes our theology makes us think that while we were dead, Christ died for us. We were so dead we couldn't wave a flag to say, God, I need your help.
Didn't even know what the problem was.
We had no clue. But God in his grace was presumptive because he saw and he acted on our behalf in our helpless estate, which is the gospel. It may feel uncomfortable for a second, but that's what we're called to do. That's what the new kingdom is. I'm going to step into your world where you're dead, and I'm going to breathe life into those things. Yep. So I think that's a call to action.
I think that can be really intimidating. What's that old quote about to be discipleship? You just need to be one step ahead of somebody. Like I don't have to know all the things. I don't have to, but if I just need to, if I'm one step ahead, I can look back and see, hey, that would have helped me in that time to be presumptive, Yeah.
That's good.
I think my answer to your question is it's really interesting. It's kind of like the if that was the head side of this coin, here's the tail side of that same coin. And in this context of that we want to be doers of the word and not hearers of the word. And I think a lot of times my mind goes to some stiff-necked, which I've been before in my life, where I'll do all the Bible studies, I'll do the stuff, I'll do those things. I just want to hear and do this, and I don't have time to go do these other or what. I think we think that's the only motivation for being a hearer of the word and not being a doer of the word. I think that there's also, if I believe about myself, even though I'm a Christian, I have the salvation of Christ, I have the indwelling of the Holy Spirit, but if I believe about myself and I listen to the lies of the enemy that constantly say, I have nothing to offer, I have nothing, who am I to go up and try to do, have you seen my own life? Who am I to go do any of these things? Or, I'm just gonna make them feel uncomfortable. I'm just gonna, all these different excuses that we can come up with of why we aren't the person to go do the thing. Why we're not the person to go and engage in that.
Right.
And we here we try to make as many on-ramps as we can to give people an opportunity to go meet those needs. But that's got to start with the person of saying, I really am going to put myself out there and be willing to go try to meet the needs, do the things that the word says that I should do. But it takes that step, and sometimes it is such a fearful step for somebody who has listened to a lie all their life of, you don't have anything to offer. Who are you to go make a difference in the world? What makes you think you can do this? But to say, no, I'm going to step out of the lie around me, and I'm going to move into that thing that Christ is calling me to do because he's doing something in the kingdom. And I think that one of the things that we want to encourage people to do here is, will you just be brave enough? Will you have the courage to take a step in that direction, and knowing that when that happens, because you said, you said yesterday, that the word is a light to our path, not it's not the goal. It's this thing that it illuminates where our next step needs to be.
Yeah.
And so when we take that next step and then trust that God in His love, in His graciousness, His working through us, the Holy Spirit will meet us in that step and do things in and through us that we can't do on our own.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good.
Thank
beautiful.
you for that, Dan.
It reminds me too, like when you just to lean into the looking in a mirror analogy. It's like you can look in a mirror and then look away and forget what you saw, but you can also look in a mirror and never stop looking and only see your flaws and pick yourself apart.
Right,
And,
right.
if you never look away from the mirror,
Right.
and you just it becomes overly self-reflective and you just never see you're anything but flawed. You go the other way. So you have to look away and then
That's
just
right.
go do. That's kind of, when you said that, that made me think
good.
of that.
That's good, guys.
Yeah. So great discussion today. We've run over time, but it was really good. It was worth it.
Great.
Hey, a couple of things before we wrap up. Of course, Wednesday nights, we started a few weeks back our Wednesday night activities, and it's been unbelievable, the turnout.
It's been
I think
so
we've
good.
had
So
record
fun.
numbers every week since we started this semester. And so we want to encourage and welcome everybody to be a part of that. Dinner starts at 4:30, but you can come anytime and get some food. And then we've got lots of programmings and offerings for you to engage in on Wednesday nights. And so be a part of that. A couple other things to bring up. Mom to Mom. It's a program that our women's ministry does for young moms and mentor moms to come together. That is happening this Sunday, I think this time right after church.
Right after church.
So, which is different. Sometimes usually they do them in the evenings. So they're going to try this format. And so if you'd like to be a part of that, you can come. If you need childcare, the deadline for that is this Wednesday, and we were recording on Monday, so August 24th. So Wednesday, August 26th would be the deadline for childcare. And then one more thing, Rebecca Williams leads a WMU group in our church, and
Williams is the best.
if you're not familiar with that is Women's Missionary Union.
That's right.
And so it has to do with missions. We've been talking a lot about missions. And so that launches, it meets the second Tuesday of each month, and it starts September 8th and runs through December 8th. So if you have an interest there, I think you do have to be a woman to be a part of it, the Women's Missionary Union. So,
Fair enough.
So that leaves us out, guys.
I do show up from time to time if there are good snacks.
Right. It's all about the food.
But I do check it out.
Yeah. So anyway, great conversation today, everybody. We look forward to continuing through James.
Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Thank you.